So next we have Irene and David from the Ashland Culture of Peace Commission. The Culture of Peace Commission is, of course, a Culture of Peace initiative. So this is how David and Irene chose to address the question, how do you build a culture of peace?
Thank you very much. And so you're going to have to use the clicker.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. And I just want to acknowledge what an amazing moment this is. To be here with, talking about mind, body, and spirit of peace building. Look around this room. It's filled with all of us who are involved in peace building on mind, body, and spirit. And it's really a treat being able to see people who I've known over the years via email and etc. and be here in person. So this is really fantastic to come together. So the Ashland Culture of Peace Commission is that, how to bring it into practicality, peace building, what we've been talking about, in a very practical way for an entire city, for a community. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to walk in, and then I'm going to talk at first, and then, sure. And then Irene will take it to another level. But I just want to acknowledge that without Irene, and this is the Commission on the Status of Women, Irene is a peace leader that none of what you're going to be seeing would have happened without Irene. And doing it together is we've been able to manifest this. So the background here is being with Pathways to Peace. I've been with Pathways to Peace since 1980, which has been a deep inspiration for me, a part of my service in the world, but working with Ava Madison and other wonderful people, with the whole idea of the prime focus of Pathways to Peace is that, as Jessica mentioned, everyone is a peace builder, everyone is a pathway to peace. Pathways had the early languaging around culture of peace, around peace building, which was new in the 80s within the UN. Pathways to Peace was one of the inspirations of International Day of Peace. So that was one of the things that I've been very involved with every year around International Day of Peace, which is, you've experienced that. It's a wonderful day, and it's important to have it. But it's a day. Pathways to Peace also had, as an early image, was the peace wheel, identifying that all parts of the community are pathways to peace. Everyone within these different segments are pathways to peace. When we started the Ashland Culture Peace Commission, it was based on the work of Pathways to Peace. In that, I've been involved with Pathways for many years. I moved up to Ashland, Oregon to be with this lovely young lady in 2003. And we've had wonderful days, but it was then bringing people together and saying, what does it look like on an ongoing basis, every day, as a culture of peace, using the whole idea of a culture of peace? How do we ground that? How do we make that happen? So we worked using the image of the peace wheel as an organizing image. We worked with people, we worked with the city council, we worked with the mayor. We were introducing the whole concept of a culture of peace with the city. And at first, the mayor and the city council were saying, well, we do water, we do sewers, and we make sure the roads are smooth, et cetera, et cetera. We don't know about peace building. Over the time, it has happened. The shift has happened, where this is being embraced. But it helped, this image helped to start what we're doing. We do have the Ashland Culture of Peace Commission, which is a citizens commission. And when we first started, we invited and had top people within the city to become part of our commissioners. We launched in September 21st in National Day of Peace, 2015, and we, as part of our commission, we have the police chief, editor of the newspaper, lawyers, etc. Key people in the community were part of this from the very beginning. But it was a citizens commission. The beginning of the foundation of this, the mission statement that we had, one is a community-wide movement dedicated to transforming our attitudes, behaviors, and institutions into ones that foster harmonious relationships with each other and the natural world. It's about relationships, as we all know. It's all about relationships. Fundamental. This is evolved too to inspire, activate, and model a culture of peace in Ashland, Oregon, which will serve as a beacon of light for all humanity. This will be understood more as we move along. But it really is, how do we bring this in a daily practice? And it all, as we all know, it all comes down, it starts here. It starts here with each one of us. The choices we make, get up in the morning, the choices we make in our relationships, at work, at school, wherever we are, that's where peace begins. And we have peace within ourselves. We all struggle, we're human beings. But how do we do that? How do we work in a way with each other as human beings, because we all have daily challenges, because we're on a learning journey. I believe we're on a learning journey of who we are. But as we do that individually, as we do that together, how do we do that consciously? We started with the culture of peace. We began working with the homeless, the people in the street, because it was a big issue in Ashland, Oregon, with the homeless dynamics, the homeless, the travelers, and the business community. And it was really getting hot, really difficult. We started having talking circles with homeless together, talking about some of the issues around peace building. What is that? The gentleman, the tan pants, that's our mayor. We invited him to come. And so we really started having open dialogue and discussion around issues in the community. We also currently have been working with the winter shelters, helping with the recruiting volunteers, training volunteers to keep the winter shelters open. So it's really on the ground, how do you make things happen for those who have little in our community, but it's about well-being. It affects the whole community, how the people are treated. Another thing that we have done is we have what's called the Tuesday Talking Circle. Every Tuesday, we have a theme that people come together and talk about in a very deep, respectful way. And what we've learned is it's all about listening. It's about listening to each other deeply, because if you've heard before, I forget who said it, but the greatest thing you can give another person is your full attention. Deeply listening to another person. It's powerful. It changes us. Another thing that we've been doing is training. So the whole idea around it, and we're talking about ethics and so on, well, absolutely. But it's really about, we talk about implicit bias, compassionate listening, bridging the differences, but it's practices. We just don't, wake up and suddenly we're in great peace. Although, it's about the heart, but it's really a learning journey. And in the community, it's what are the shared values that we have. And what the Ashland Culture Peace Commission is about in so many ways, it's education. It's helping us be more conscious of. It's helping us wake up. It's helping us with the practices that we have. And some of these practices we say, well, of course. Well, it's not just of course. It's hard. It's a challenge in a community in particular. When there's difference, there's always going to be conflict. But it's how we deal with this conflict that makes a difference. Another part of one of the things that we did in the 2016 Candidates Forum, the city candidates for mayor and city council, we held a forum, and we started the whole thing off on our values. We said, great, welcome, but these are the values we're going to function by. Everyone agreed to it, and it was the most amazing city candidate forum that anyone had experienced to date. But everyone shifted because of really having values. Not arguments, not fighting with each other, but the values. Another example is the Women's March, the National Women's March in January 2017. Women who came to us, who were organizing this, said, we want to have support. And this is the big march in Washington, D.C. and so on. We said, wonderful, that's great, but we don't do anti. We're not going to do anti-administration, we're not going to do, we do the values, do inclusivity, we do support and respect. And they said, come back with your plan and we can help support that. They did. 15,000 people participated in Ashland only has 20,000 people. 15,000 people showed up. It was phenomenal. It shifted. It shifted because of the agreement around values. And people said, yes, we could do that. Another was working with the mayor and city council when they, again, through our leadership in education, they joined the International Cities of Peace. Fred Arment, who's done incredible work with International Cities of Peace. I encourage you to learn more about that. It's fantastic. So Fred, yes, very good. Yeah, with City of Peace, City of Peace, and there you go.
Here's my story.
5 minutes.
I have a 5-minute story to tell.
Yeah.
Boy, I better do it quickly. Okay, in the fall of 2015, I took my daughter to an art exhibit in the UK. It's Banksy's Dismaland. So we went there. My daughter said, we're not going to fly there for one day, so we should go to tour Wales. And I said, okay. We went to Wales, drove around deep in the Snowdonia Mountains. I had to turn my car around. I drove into an outlet behind the mountain. This is what I encountered. This is a World Peace Flame monument. And I was so inspired when I saw the flame because I learned what this meant to me. This is 7 sacred flames from 5 continents flew live to Wales and joined together become the World Peace Flame. And it means unity. So when I encountered that, it really hit me. And I knew in my heart, I am a pathway to peace. And I also know this flame had really inspired me and lit the sacred flame in my heart. And they gave me a candle, brought it back to Ashland, and we lit it for the inauguration of the Ashland Culture of Peace Commission. And I am very inspired to bring the World Peace Flame to Ashland and ask for the World Peace Flame Foundation to give us permission. And through 3 years of hard work, grace, and serendipity, this is a construction of the Thalden Pavilion in the Southern Oregon University campus. We were invited to install the World Peace Flame in this pavilion. This is a delegation, and the executive director from the World Peace Flame Foundation flew into Ashland to light the flame. Hundreds of people came out to the lighting ceremony. Agnes Pilgrim, she is the chairwoman of the 13 indigenous women, grandmother in the world. She lives in Southern Oregon, and she's the first one who held the flame. This is the mayor, and this is the mayor of Eugene. The president and the executive director of the World Peace Flame Foundation lit the flame. And after that, the peace choir sang Imagine. And everyone just stood up simultaneously, held hands, sang, and cried. And someone told me that was her holy moment. It was very powerful. And then this is a group of middle school children. At the lighting ceremony, they have volunteered to be the flame keeper. They are the one who refilled the oil lamp and was teaching them how to care for the flame. Unity. They are the one who pass on to the next generation, because the world peace flame is eternal. And they are taking care of the flame. When they move on to high school, the next class will take their place. So as long as there's a middle school, the flame will be lit. And 2 weeks from now, David and I are invited to go to the State Senate, Oregon State Senate. I am to give an invocation to all the senators before that session, to really give them and introduce them to the language to a culture of peace, and to inspire them to proclaim Oregon as a state of peace. So the story has brought me here, and we will continue.